Bookish friends, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Lexi, and today we are doing my 10 before the end. When I say 10 before the end, I'm kind of lying because I have definitely more than 10 books here, and not all of them I need to read by the end of the year. They're just books that are like my 10 top priority books, because I have some Christmassy reads that I want to read in the month of December, obviously. So some of these are just like seasonally themed, so like they can be read after December ends, if that makes sense. So I'm calling this my 10ish before the endish. Always a stipulation, right? Let's first talk about the actual 10 books that when I thought of this list, I thought of these 10 books and picked these out, because these are like my top priority reads. And then we'll talk about a couple of books that I have that I just want to read in the month of December. So like if some of these get pushed out of the month of December, then that's totally fine. But we're going to try to read all 13 that I have here. We'll see. But the first book I have is Bookshops and Bonedust by Travis Baldree. This is the prequel to Legends and Lattes. This book is following Viv, I think 20 years before Legends and Lattes happens, where she is a warrior. Obviously, she is a warrior, and she's dealing with being hurt and wounded during some sort of battle that she was in, and she doesn't know if she can return to it. Suspicious traveler in gray, a gnome with a chip on her shoulder, a summer fling, and an improbable number of skeletons prove Merc to be more eventful than Vid could have ever expected. So this doesn't really have to do with Legends and Lattes. It's kind of just learning Viv's story 20 years before she got to the Legends and Lattes point. But I love Travis Baldree's writing. It is so cute and cozy, and this, obviously, if you can't tell by the cover, is a cozy fantasy, but Legends and Lattes was like one of my favorite books last year, so very excited to read that. Next, I have a Holly Jolly Ever After by Julie Murphy and Sierra Simone. If you have been following me on Instagram for like at least a year now, you know that I read the first book to this last year, which was A Merry Little Meet Cute, and I thought it was going to be like this cute, innocent holiday rom-com. I was wrong. It was a holiday rom-com, but it was not cute and innocent. It was spicy and pretty raunchy. But all that to say, I absolutely loved the first book, so when I saw that they were coming out with this one, I instantly knew I needed to have it. When I first saw that this was being released, I was like, all right, I'm going to try to make the smart financial decision and see if I can get it on either audiobook or on my Kindle. And I did get it on my Kindle when I was away on my honeymoon, and I have like 3 days left to read it, and that's just not going to happen. So I was like, you know what, screw it. I am going to buy myself the physical copy because I absolutely love this book so much and love the way the two of them look together on my shelf, which is not a reason to buy a book, but I did buy it for that reason. So, yep. Second book on my 10 before the end. Book I have is Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. This is a book I really wanted to read last year, but just like never found the time to. And since then, I have heard nothing but amazing things about this book. It is obviously a holiday-ish romance between an ice skater and the captain of the hockey team. I thought this was also going to be like a sweet, innocent book, and then when I was watching people's reviews, they were saying that there's a lot of sex in it and it's spicy, so I was like, okay, sign me up. I also love this cover. I love this little ice skater's little get-up. It's so cute to me. So yeah, very excited to read this. Next, I have Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. I really want to read this before the second book comes out. I did pre-order the second book. So if I don't get to this right away, I'm not going to be that mad about it, because then maybe I could just read the two of them in a weekend and record a vlog for that. This is I think it's a fantasy romance where it says, when two young rival journalists find love through a magical connection, they must face the depths of hell in a war between gods to seal their fate forever. So I don't really know much about this, and I want to go into it knowing not that much about it because I want to be like fully surprised and see what all the hype is about. But from what I've gathered, it's two journalists that are kind of dealing with different issues in their life, and they secretly write letters to each other, but they don't know it's the other person, and they form a connection through these letters, and then I think one day they realize that they are writing to each other, and stuff goes off from there. But I don't really know much about this, and I want to keep it that way until I get to experience it for myself, so don't spoil it for me. Next, I have Ice Planet Barbarians by Ruby Dixon. This is a human-alien spicy romance. I was a little like standoffish about this series at first because, one, there's a lot of books in this series, and I was like, well, I like an alien romance, but then I was like, you know what, screw it. Like, why not try something different? It says this is an out-of-this-world romance between Georgie, a human woman, and Vectel, an alien from another planet. I think Georgie gets abducted by aliens, and then her and this alien fall in love. I've also heard that this is really spicy, which I'm pumped about. Give me all the spice. But this is one that if I don't read it in the month of December, I want to read it in the month of either January or February, where it's still cold and chilly and snowy, because this doesn't give me like Christmassy Christmassy vibes, but it does give me a wintry vibes. In January and February are obviously winter months. So if I read it in those months, I will still consider that a success. Next, I have The Writing Retreat by Julie Bartz. I think this is just a thriller novel about a group of writers that go on this retreat in this isolated cabin in the woods during the winter time, and bad shit just starts happening from the second they get there. I absolutely love this cover with like the muted background and then the neon green writing. Kayla from Books and Lala had this as one of her book club picks. I'm not part of that book club, but when it comes to thrillers, I trust her. She absolutely loved this, so I have high hopes for it. I bought this book last February. No, it wouldn't be last February. This February of 2023, when Chris and I went to Canada. I'm pretty sure I bought this at Indigo. I honestly have no clue. I'm pretty sure that's where I got it, but I have been dying to read this, but I wanted to wait till the winter months so I could feel all the vibes when it inevitably snows in upstate New York. Next, I have Dead of Winter by Darcy Coates. Darcy Coates writes a lot of like mysterious horror books. Some are really good and some are not so great. So I'm kind of going into this with zero expectations. The last book I read of hers, Hunted, I absolutely loved. And then the book before that, I read Gallow Hills. Did not like it at all. So I'm kind of going into this hoping it's one of her better ones. This is where 8 strangers go out into an exploration in the Rocky Mountains. And I'm pretty sure a snowstorm happens and then they all get stuck in this cabin and bad shit starts to happen. People start to disappear. And obviously when you're snowed in a cabin, there is nowhere for you to go. So what the hell do you do? Hoping this one's really good. This is a shorter book of hers. Man, she's got a lot of chapters. This has 78 chapters, but it's only 341 pages. One thing I will say about Darcy Coates is she does have short chapters, so her books are really easy to like fly through and get into. So very hopeful for this one. This is also another one where if I don't read it in the month of December, I'll be okay. I think I want to prioritize these wintry December Christmassy reads over like these ones, but we're gonna put these in the 10 before the end because it's not really a 10 before the end. Let's just say that's what it's gonna be labeled as, but it's not really gonna be that. It's kind of gonna be my end of year / winter TBR. So next I have Iron Flame by Miss Rebecca Yarros. If you don't know what this book is, then you are totally missing out and living under a rock. This is the second book to Fourth Wing. I read Fourth Wing. When did I read that? Oh my god, earlier this year. And literally, like, it became my personality trait, and I know that this is what's going to happen with this one. Once I finish the book I'm currently reading, which is taking me fucking forever, and I can't get through it, I'm going to pick this book up, and I cannot wait. This is a thick boy, let me just tell you. It's over 620 pages, but I've heard that this is amazing. This is also a book I want to go into with zero, like, clue of what happened and what people thought, so every time I saw this on my, like, feed or anything on Bookstagram or YouTube or Book Talk, I literally just liked it and scrolled because I was like, I don't want to know what happens. I don't want to hear any spoilers. I want to go in with nothing in my mind so I can form my own opinions and not be like, oh yeah, this person said that and I kind of agree. I want to go in and form my own opinions and have my own experience and not vicariously live through somebody else. So this is definitely like highest priority on my TBR for the rest of the year. Next, I have The Fury by Alex Michaelides. I still have no idea if that's how you pronounce his name. This is actually a early copy of this book. I don't know how I was so lucky and blessed to have gotten this arc, but I'm so happy I did because everything this author has written, I have been obsessed with. The Silent Patient was like one of my favorite books ever. And then their second book, The Maidens, was also freaking like mind-blowing. Like how this man comes up with these ideas, I just don't get it. But I absolutely love that, so I know I'm going to love this. And I'm not going to try to explain this in my own words, so I'm just going to read you the synopsis on the back. This is a tale of murder, or maybe that's not quite true. At its heart, it's a love story, isn't it? Lana Ferrara is a reclusive ex-movie star and one of the most famous women in the world. Every year, she invites her closest friends to escape the English weather and spend Easter on her idyllic private Greek island. I tell you this because you may think you know this story. You probably read about it at the time. It caused a real stir in the tabloids, if you remember. It had all of the necessary ingredients for a press sensation. A celebrity, a private island cut off by the wind, and a murder. We found ourselves trapped there overnight. Old friendships concealed, hatred and desire for revenge. What followed was a game of cat and mouse. A battle of wits, full of twists and turns, building to an unforgettable climax. The night ended in violence and death. But who am I? My name is Elliot Chase, and I'm going to tell you a story unlike any you've ever heard. Like, does that not sound so freaking amazing? I also, like, love this cover. Like, it is such a strange cover. Somebody explain to me what this eye is. I know I see it everywhere. Like, they sell jewelry with that, but I don't know if it's, like, the evil eye or the third eye. I probably sound like an idiot. Anyways, I love this. Can't wait to read this. This comes out in January of 2024. I don't know the exact date, so I really do want to get to this month so that by the time this publishes, you will know my full thoughts and if it's worth it or not. So lastly, on this 10 before the end, before we get into some Christmassy reads, I have Swordcatcher by Cassandra Clare. This is my first time ever reading from this author. This is her adult fantasy debut, so I'm very excited to read this, and I've heard nothing but amazing things about this. So I think this is about a guy named Kel who is an orphan, stolen from the life he knew to become the Swordcatcher, the body double of a royal heir, Prince Connor. He has been raised alongside the prince, trained in every aspect of combat and statecraft. He and Connor are as close as brothers, but Kel knows that his destiny is to die for Connor. No other future is possible. So this guy becomes the Swordcatcher, which is basically like a body double bodyguard for this other prince. And I'm pretty sure they fall in love, but like I follow Peru's project here on BookTube, and she like loved this book and flew through it. Obviously, it's a thick boy. So I'm very excited to read this and read from Cassandra Clare for the first time. This book is like intimidating because it is really friggin' long. It is 604 pages, but I don't know if you're gonna be able to see. The words are like pretty big, like the font size is pretty big. So I don't think it's gonna be that bad. But obviously I'm really into my fantasy era of big ass books because look at the two of these. Between these two books, there's 1,200 pages plus. So I don't know what's going on with me. So those are my official 10 before the end books. And then these are kind of like sprinkles on that little TBR. And these are all pretty much holiday / wintertime romances. So the first book I have is Lovelight Farms by B.K. Borrison. I've heard nothing but amazing things about this. Two best friends fake date to reach their holiday happily ever after in this first romantic comedy in the Lovelight series. So I've heard this is really cute, really atmospheric, and gives you all the cozy winter vibes. So I'm very excited to hopefully read this winter. And then these two are definite books that I need to read. This first book, you should have seen the effort I made to find this fucking book. Like, it took so long. I went to multiple different Barnes & Nobles. And when I finally found it at the Barnes & Noble, it took me like, I was in the store for 45 minutes trying to find this fucking book. I looked on every single table. I looked on the romance shelves for both like adult and YA and could not find it. And finally, I asked 2 different employees if they had it. They said they had 3 copies, and then they were running around the store trying to find it. And one of them finally found it in the fiction section, and she was like, it should have not been there. You're not crazy. We couldn't even find it. So that book is The Book Club Hotel by Sarah Morgan. Let's just moment of silence for this cover because it's just so friggin' cute. Okay. I absolutely love this cover. There's a funny backstory to this book. I was scrolling through TikTok one day, you know, as one does. And I saw people like posting about the holiday rom-com tables they have at their Barnes & Noble. And in 2 separate videos, I saw just the cover of this book, and I was like, I don't freaking care what that book is about. I just want it because of the cover. So then I went on a manhunt trying to find this damn book. But now that I am home and I have it, I read the description, and it's about this woman, Hattie, who her and her husband bought a boutique hotel in Vermont, and a month after they opened, husband died, and then now she's stuck running this hotel by herself. It is obviously fully booked because of the holiday season. The book is known for its like really cute library, and then a group of women show up to do like a book club getaway weekend. And she finds herself immersed with these other women, and it just sounds adorable. The reason why I like this and the next book so much is because they're not basic, like, holiday rom-coms where it's like, oh, this person is so festive and cheery, and then this person is like the Grinch, but they meet each other and fall in love. But, like, this is like a Christmassy story about a hotel with a really good library, 1 point, and a woman who is grieving and kind of feels alone, finding a group of other bookish women, point 2, and they form a book club and a beautiful friendship through the use of a book club. So point 3. Sounds so adorable. Also, another moment for this cover because it's just so damn cute. Okay, the last book is A December to Remember by Jenny Bayliss. This just sounded so, like, different and not, like, again, your basic holiday rom-com. This is a story about some, you know what, I'm not even going to try to describe it in my own words. I'm just going to read it. Wildly different half-sisters Maggie, Simone, and Star have hardly seen one another since their sprightly summers at Rowan Thorpe, their eccentric father, Augustus' home. Known for his bustling approach to the knick-knack shop he ran, Augustus was loved by all and known by none, not even his daughters. Now, years later, the three estranged women are called upon for the reading of Augustus's will and quickly realize he's orchestrated a series of hoops through which they must jump to unlock their inheritance. The last thing any of them want to do. But Maggie and Star desperately need the money, and who would Simone be to resist? Through hilarious goose chases, small-town mishaps, and one heartwarming winter solstice celebration, love is in the air if only the three sisters can let themselves grasp it. So how freaking cute does that sound? I'm so excited to read this. It just sounds so amazing, and I love anything that has to do with, like, games and, like, doing certain things to get to something else. Like, I don't know. It sounded so good, and I literally cannot wait to read this. So, see if I can pile up the books. Probably not, because I've never had luck with it. Already going downhill. It's not going to work, I'm telling you right now. Here is my 10 before the end. So excited to read literally all of these books. I feel like I have a really great stack here, and I feel like December is going to be my best reading month yet. November was a little bit of a flop for reading for me. I literally read 3 books in the entire month because Chris and I were on our honeymoon living our best lives, and honestly, I was in such a reading slump. I was reading The Court of Mist and Fury for pretty much the entire month of November, and still have not finished it, so that's great. But yes, thank you for watching. If you are not already subscribed, make sure to do so and hit that notification bell so you are notified every time I upload a video. I am doing Vlogmas this year. My first video was already posted this past Saturday, and I will be posting weekly vlogs for that each Saturday, in addition to regular sit-down videos on Mondays and reading vlogs on Thursday. So you will have 3 videos each week in the month of December, which is crazy. But yeah, thank you for watching. Leave a comment below with your 10 before the end, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.